All right. And so I want to ask this question to you as we start. I know Rowan mentioned just some of your history, and so we're really happy that you're here. But if you can just please tell us just about the hardest and worst experience that you've experienced, really leading, all right? Just the hardest moment. Because I would like to talk about the joys and the celebration of all the great things, but if you can just speak to just the hardest space and time in your leadership and what you've done.
Okay, well, can I set it up just a little bit first? First, I want to say thank you guys so much, and sorry that my back's to you a little bit, and we'll move around so maybe you can see us. But the work that you do is so inspiring. Like, you don't even understand. You get up, you do your morning thing, you have your breakfast, and you go into this job, and I'm sure you feel great about it, and you understand, you remember the work that you've done, you hear these incredible stories, but you don't even understand what next level human being is, because you are that. And the fact that I am in this room with you, I don't deserve a tenth of the applause, and I mean it, of the people in this room and the people that you represent. 850 of them, blows my mind. So when I was at the Thanksgiving stuff, and I got to do the warm up on the stage, and then they put me with the mayor up on top of this thing, and I risked my life for you people. No, but I was just like, wow, they get to feel this way every day, and I hope you never take it for granted, because what you do, this is life right here. Yeah. And it's not the stuff that you're collecting. It's, you want to experience life. And you guys are not only experience life, you're pouring it into other people so they can experience life. And it blows my mind. So I've been looking forward to this. I've been like, Rowan, when do I get to speak? When do I get to speak? When do I get to see these people? And finally it came together. Okay, so I'm going to get to your question, I swear. He's like, are you going to do all the talking? Yes, probably. Sorry, Oprah. So let me put this question in context. As Rowan said, I took this company public in the summer of 2022. I never really wanted to be public, but I won't take you through all the business rationale for needing to do it, but you've got investors and they need an exit. And so I managed to maintain control of the business going public, meaning I owned significant shares of the stock, or what they call super voting. But it was happening just after the pandemic. So we had this woo, pandemic. Everybody wants to work out at home. Pandemic's over. Nobody wants to work out at home. And that just happened to be right at the time that we had a $3 billion market capitalization, meaning the market said, hey, this company's worth $3 billion. If you happen to follow stocks, if you look at what the stock is worth today, it's worth $110 million, according to the market. Now, I'm very happy about that, because a year ago, it was worth $35 million. $3 billion? I was super happy. $35 billion after 28 years of doing this. Now look, that's just the market, okay? What we do at BODi, and I appreciate you saying BODi, many people say BODi. That was maybe a bad idea for me to spell it that way, but it was Beachbody On Demand Interactive, a digital virtual fitness business where we have P90X, Insanity, 21-Day Fix, over 140 programs to help people get healthy and fit. Our mission is to help people achieve their goals to lead healthy, fulfilling lives. It's not about abs, hips, buns, whatever. It's about health. And if you want abs, great, go for it. If you want to be built, go for it. We just want people to be moving and maintain their muscle. So that's been the mission all along. And I've never taken a lot of money out of the business. I've taken enough out of the business, through distributions, they call them, or profit sharing. But I've always poured it back in because I want to achieve the mission. We want to help more people. And when this market swing happened, and I can't say it happened to us. It happened because of a series of decisions that we thought were good decisions at the time. And I'm saying that because you're going to make a series of decisions. Everybody in here has the power to make decisions and the power to question decisions. So the whole purpose of this is for you to hear maybe a cautionary tale of a guy who's still in the thick. I am in the tar of a turnaround and fighting for the very survival of this company that helps thousands, if not millions of people, and it's threatened. And Hope the Mission, because of politics, because of the rise of the problem, because of what's going to happen over the next 3 to 5 years, which could get really ugly, Hope the Mission will be threatened. And the thing that keeps me going in those dark nights, which I'll get to your question, is the fact that I've got a mission. So as long as I still believe in the mission, and I can put food on the table for my family and keep a roof over their heads, then I'll be damned if I'm going to slow down. And if I'm going to have self-pity, and if I'm going to blame everybody else, and I'm going to be ashamed of, oh, I'm not as rich as I was, and it doesn't look as good to everybody. It just doesn't matter. And you're going to have this opportunity. It's going to happen to you. I know it, because you're growing. 850 people, all these kitchens, all the stuff that you're doing, there's going to be disarray and chaos in there. And there's going to be times when you question leadership because you really don't know what's going on, or you're going to project your story onto what you interpret as what they should do. But you got great leaders, and you're going to contribute, and you're going to work with the leadership, and you're going to try to understand what it's about, and hopefully you'll be able to maintain the heart and the beauty of this. And that's the challenge that I'm giving you today. Of all the other stuff, of all the specific logistics that you do, which are so incredible, feeding so many people, finding, getting people off the streets, finding them housing, finding them, transitioning them out of it, you're gonna have to consciously work on holding your heart in this and keeping your heart open, because with the politics and what they do to screw things up, or what other people misinterpret as what you're doing, or even competition. Like, I think it's great that you're working with LA Mission, but I'm sure that there's other people who they want to be the biggest, and they want to, your heart will be challenged. But the beauty, the joy of doing this is going to be how you maintain that open heart. That is your real big job, because it's going to be challenged, it's going to be beat on, and there's going to be sleepless nights. And I have them. There are nights that I have gone to bed where I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to keep this. I've been doing this for 28 years. I have turned down buyout opportunities. I have turned down cash. And here I am, fighting, scrapping to keep this thing. They call it a turnaround. And over the last couple of years, I had to renegotiate debt, bring people in who could help us make sure that we survive through this whole thing. And there were nights when I went to bed and I was like, I really don't feel like waking up tomorrow. So I don't know, God. I don't know what life is supposed to be, but this is not fun. This is incredibly painful. I've been through situations where I knew that my decisions hurt people, meaning there were people who were relying on us for income. We had this thing called the multi-level marketing network, if you know, like Amway and that kind of thing. So I had probably 200,000 people, and there was a thin layer of them that were making a ton of money. And what happens in the network marketing business is it starts to get mercenary, meaning people are like, I need more, and they start forgetting the mission, and it starts to get toxic. And I was like, wait a minute, this is standing in the way of the business. So I had a toxic business, people who I thought were going to help us grow, who they were standing in the way of the business growing, and I had to kill it. Like, I had to terminate that because it was like cancer, the weeds growing up around our neck, and it was too expensive to maintain. So I'm like, if I want to get this business back to $1 billion, $2 billion, what it should be to help society, this business needs to be $20 billion. That's my goal. Not for me, for the company. But man, is it painful. I can't even describe the pain of embarrassment, of anger, death threats. Literally, my DMs. People sliding in my DMs, wanting to kill me. Thank you. I didn't think that's what sliding into my DMs was supposed to be about. I thought it was supposed to be sexy or something. So within that, my kids are getting called out on social media. Like, people are vicious. And they're going to be vicious. But here's what I do. Quiet my mind, check my ego, check in with the Creator, and I go, all right, I actually need to wake up tomorrow. And if you have me wake up tomorrow, I know I'm still here for a purpose. I'm here to help some people avoid type 2 diabetes. Thank you. I'm going to help some people stay mobile and agile. You ever been to like a assisted living facility? My parents are in assisted living, and I'll go there and I'll talk to them, and they're in their late 80s, early 90s, and they can't even talk to me while we walk. Like they're not that mobile. So they got the cane or they got the walker thing with the tennis balls, and I'll go in, I'll visit them, give them new tennis balls. You're welcome. And but they can't talk and walk because they're afraid of the cracks in the ground, and that's because they let it slip away. Like you can't go to sleep on your agility, your mobility, and your strength. And I'm like, well, if I'm seeing that happen here, that's happening to millions of people, and now society has to support those millions of people. And none of our goal was to end this infirm, meaning lack of mobility, where somebody's got to feed us through a straw or feeding us day by day. We want to be mobile and agile so we can continue to embrace life. So in those dark moments, on those days, I'm not a finance guy, I'm a creative guy. Like the first program I ever created was called 8-Minute Abs. And because I thought it was just a minute better than 7-minute abs, but not quite as hard as 9-minute abs. And we sold 2 million copies of that for 1995. We were a tiny little company. And I was like, oh, there's something here. So that's what I do. But I'm in the middle of this as a public company, and I all of a sudden got to be a finance guy and talk to people who want to talk about subordinated debt. And I don't even know what these words mean, but I nod. And I'm like, okay, is what we're talking about right now going to help save this company so that we can help more people? And that, yes. So it's been about 3 years in this turnaround from a year ago, the stock being at like $3.30 and about to get delisted from the New York Stock Exchange, which is sort of death. And we moved over to the they call it the NASDAQ. We do a reverse split, because the stock had actually gone down to under $1. We had to build it back up. We do a reverse stock split, get it up to $3.50. And yesterday, for the first time in over 2 years, we closed over $15. So we're on our way back. The point is, in that darkest of moments, I learned something that I never thought I would have to learn. I knew I was a pretty resilient guy. And I knew that not quitting was something. I've given speeches and don't quit, never say I can't. But I have never gone through a test like I've lived the last 3 years. Like, unbelievable. Challenged my family, my marriage, my business. And I'm still in it. But what I've learned is that it's really true what they say. Like, as dark as it is, when you believe in it and you keep your heart open in it and you don't close down and fall into blame and gossip, which is going to happen. You're going to have gossip and talking about it. And instead, when you can foster this culture of appreciation of these people who do these things, these people who wear these vests that are like, that's a superhero cape, if you ask me. If you guys have the ability to maintain that culture without turning on yourselves and without feeling like, oh, I need to be getting rich like that guy. Why are the people who are doing the bad things the one getting all the riches? You know what they're not getting? They're not getting showered with love and appreciation and getting to experience what it's like to help people like you and I get to do. And I think that's the greatest gift. And I'm just so proud of you. So anyway, that's the dark hours for me. And I managed to make it through, and here I am. Here you go.
So, excellent. So there was so much in that. There was so much in that, and I really appreciate your transparency and just leading into that. I think that what you've communicated in reference to resilience and all that just really resonates with us as an organization. But one of the things that you said that I thought that was really powerful, just very personally, there's a scripture that talks about, is there not a cause? And with that scripture, you think about the idea of mission and being mission aligned and having a reason of why you exist. And so I'm interested with that with reference to you because you speak a lot about mission and mission alignment. And then you also talk about toxic mission, what I thought was really interesting. And so I'm intrigued to just kind of hear you speak more about that and just kind of share, one, what is the why? How do you continue to keep the why? And then, because I know that you're going to go, so I'm going to give you these as you're going, all right? So,
Yeah.
So what is the why? Like, what is the why? How to define that why? And in the past 25 years, has there been moments where you felt the necessity to kind of shift mission or change mission or alter mission if it was not meeting those results? And then how do you maintain a positive, not toxic mission? So that's 3 questions.
All right.
I know you're gonna go, but that's like I want you to keep that.
Okay.
Yes.
So look, I had a skill early in my career. I wanted to get into television, and I can remember like the first thing that I did, like right out of school. I was so fortunate. I was producing the halftime of a national football game between Syracuse and Army. And so I got to produce the halftime TV break. And I was 22 years old. And I was like, oh, this is my dream. Sports. I'm a producer. And I was in the truck, and they rolled the tape, and I called it, and the director's behind me, and he's like, it's your show, kid. And I'm like, okay. So I got it. And we did the halftime. And one of the most important things was that they did something that you have to hit the very second that needs to roll over to commercial break so that it comes back out so they don't miss the opening kickoff. And they thought that this amateur, they were like, well, let's see if the kid can do it. And sure enough, man, I hit the post, boom, they rolled out the commercial, and they gave me a little applause inside the truck. And I was like, oh, I did it. And I walked out of the truck, and the teams they had started the play. And I looked out, and I was like, oh, this isn't it. Like literally, my first day, I produced a national halftime show. And I walked out and I said, this isn't the career that I want. I'm just going to watch these guys beat each other up on this green patch of grass every week. And then we're going to analyze it and judge it. And we're going to do that again next week. I'm not making any difference at all. Now, you wouldn't have thought that would have led me into infomercials, but somehow that did. But infomercials are just a form. If you remember, infomercials are like program-length advertisements, right? So you're going along and like there's Ron Popeil making chicken, or fishing or whatever they could sell, like Insu knives and stuff. And so I had a real skill for that. But as I was I was young in my career, so I was moving up and up and up. And I always like this. This can be an amazing medium to be able to influence people to buy something and to improve something. And I thought, well, maybe instead of all these gadgets that they keep selling and then the companies go out of business and burn everybody that didn't like it and they can't get their returns. I'm like, maybe if it was legit what was behind it, it could really grow. That's when we created the mission, help people achieve their goals, lead healthy, fulfilling lives. So the why came out of recognizing that there's a need out there and a powerful medium. You guys recognize, obviously, there's a massive need out there, and you're working with people, Ken and Rowan and the whole team, that have a vision for working together to expand this thing without getting out over your skis, so that it's just another cautionary tale about why the private sector or the charitable sector can't manage itself. You are defying all that. That's a powerful why. And I think the power of that why, the way it's structured here, is your interconnectedness. This is just my observation. When I was at that Thanksgiving dinner, and like people were walking around and they nobody knew. All the volunteers, like we were all like, what do I do? Where do we get the plasticware to give out? And it was chaos. But everybody was like, it's chaos, but we're going to get it done. And we're going to figure it out. And nobody turned on each other. And everybody was like, we want to celebrate. We want to give these people a little ray of sunshine on a day of gratitude. And we're going to get this done. And we're going to clean it up. And I don't care how famous or how rich you are, you're going to pick up that plate of turkey and gravy and potatoes that's on the ground, which I'm doing, cleaning it up so that nobody steps in it, because I want it to be a good experience for everybody. That's such a powerful human why versus, you said, what'd you say, the toxic?
Toxic mission.
The toxic mission, which is, how good can this be for me?
Yeah.
That's just a toxic mission that will never end because it'll never be good enough. But so that is always right outside, right? Carrot and the stick, right? It's like they got a hat on with the carrot in front. You're like, I just can't get that carrot. No matter how many selfies I put on social media, I'm just not getting as many followers as I want. I'm not getting the recognition that I want. People are saying mean things about me. Me, me, me. That's the toxicity. Service, taking joy in watching somebody else's life have a moment of basketball that should be an entitlement, but somehow it's turned into something that we have to find a way to engineer it so a friggin' kid can play basketball, feels criminal. Yeah. Except, look, we don't know what the big design is. Here's one of the things that I have learned, and I'm sure I'm off the questions, but I have learned that I cannot control the uncontrollable. I can control me. The world is going to be the world, and I cannot wag my finger at the world because I didn't create the world, but I do believe that we all came from the same energy field that said, I want to see what this experience is going to be like, the big guy. I want to see what this experience is going to be like, so I'm going to express myself through all these people, and I'm going to create all these problems and see how I deal with it throughout us. So the question is, how are we going to deal with it? And I don't think that creator did it in a way that is, hey, let's see how big your house can be. I don't think that was the point. The point is, let me see how I can experience this with an open heart in a way that serves my soul, and put a group of people together and see if maybe this time they get it. And who knows? We might not get it. But we're sure as hell going to keep fighting hard to do it. That's why I ask you. Thanks. I hope you know every time you applaud, you are applauding for yourself. So take that in, because you're the ones. Seriously. What was the other question?
Well, I think, okay, so because you said you got off, but I want to just say real that what you've just communicated is absolutely brilliant. I think it speaks to our why, right? And why we exist and why we have the work and why we do the work that we do. So I really appreciate that for sure. And you answered every question way beyond. All right, so okay. I appreciate you. Can you give it up one more time for me? They know me here that I'm a preacher outside of here, and so I'm a church boy. And so, Rowan, you did not tell me we were bringing a preacher. You did not tell me that, all right? I mean, this guy was preaching, talking about the Creator, and so I was like, let's have church. This is awesome. And so that's my language. I love it. All right. I have like two more questions, and then we also want to give a space for our leaders to be able to ask you some questions as well. And I really do appreciate you for just all your insight, for sure. One of the things that we are processing through here at Hope the Mission, and I think that you have a very interesting vantage point from just the work that you've done and the things that you've done. We've grown significantly. Like it's just we've expanded, and over the past since you came around, I've been here for just 4 years, and we had like 200 employees when I started, and now we're approaching about 900. That's wild. It's all within just 4 years' time, and so we've seen immense growth. And so as a company grows, what do you see or assess the first thing that starts to break? What is it? Is it culture, clarity, execution, mission? And then how do you make sure that there's not a mission or cultural drift too far from the original cause? Okay, that's such a good question. I'll tell you a story about even how I got connected to you guys. Literally, so we're doing over $1 billion in sales. And we have this studio in Van Nuys, and that we had bought. And it's where we shoot our workout videos. Did I say that I do workout videos? Yeah, I think I said that. Okay. So we got these workout videos, and we shoot them in Van Nuys. And, but it's on a cul-de-sac, and in this cul-de-sac, there's like this little tent city. Maybe 10, 12 different tents going on. And there's some bad stuff happening. And the studio's protected barbed wire. It's like a prison that you just sort of can't believe. Why we got to protect ourselves from each other so much? But there's this encampment. And I talked to the guy who managed the studio. And I was like, what can we do about this? Because I got talent coming in and people a little scared. And he said, oh, I'm going to handle that. And I go, oh, how are you going to handle it? He said, what I do is, I guess you put honey on the telephone poles around the cul-de-sac, and it attracts swarms of bees.
So nobody wants to live there. And I said, no, that's not the answer. I appreciate it, but it's creative and it does not, I don't know, it's not a confrontation directly, but that's not a solution. And I had a friend, Janet Nalbandian, who knew of Hope the Mission and knew of the local politicians. And I said, Janet, we got to find a way. We're doing well enough. Let's see if we help people. And the people around the studio, when I told them what we were going to try to do, that we were going to try to help these people, not just scare them down the street, but help them, the people inside that studio remembered that we started from zero and we grew this thing to over $1 billion a year. But you can never forget the heart that you had when you started at zero. And the minute you think you're too big that you can, or anybody, CEO on down, that anybody thinks that they are too important or too busy to think of the human being and the consequence of their treatment of the human being, they turn from being a part of our solution and our culture to being toxicity within the culture. And so we collectively, so how to avoid it, collectively the team needs to work on it and sometimes do the really hard things and say, you're gonna need to go because this is not the culture that we want. And I've been through some, you got some superstars doing incredible things. But again, there's that ego and me, and entitlement that can creep in, and they're making the company so much money, it threatens that confronting them threatens all that progress. And we would just have to say, you either need to change or you need to go. And I've been, here's what I would say, because as you do that, it will be imperfect. So you're not bad, you're not wrong if you start to notice the toxicity or you want to confront the toxicity. There might be people in here right now like, I'm thinking about that guy, I know who's toxic. And you might be thinking about it, but I guarantee you, you don't know his wounds or her wounds that are creating that toxicity. So if you approach it as a team with love to try to help that person get over that and connect back to the heart of what this is, that's what I do at my company. Let's connect back. Like it's funny, after doing this 28 years, being so dark, I'm like, how many times can I come up with a way to do a push-up after 28 years that's going to be interesting and marketable? And I had an idea over the weekend that is the best idea I have ever had to help people get healthy and fit and deal with their emotional nervous system regulation. And I'm like, oh, this is why I'm still in this. So you never know what your next idea is. You never know what you can do just by talking to somebody and what that action is. Hope is lost when you lose hope. And that's why I love the name of this company so much. Like, it is the mission. And so if there's anything that I hope for you is that as you scale, you both celebrate the scale. This is the teeter-totter. You got to balance this. You got to balance growth with checking in on the humanity of the mission. Never growth at all costs. Always, can we do this? Does this threaten the whole thing? Sometimes you'll have to take those risks. Like you got that kitchen downtown LA, a big bet. You're gonna, hopefully that'll create some revenue. It'll be great, but you gotta be careful. Don't get over your skis. Hopefully if you do, if things go back, you can make corrections before it threatens the whole ecosystem. But you're all gonna always need to check in on offense and defense, right? So you got offense out there, but you can't be all offense. You gotta have the defense of protect the heart and the mission and the way we treat each other, because okay, this is could be my big finish. I don't know. I'm sure you get so pissed off when you see the way human beings are being treated out there. Okay, you get so pissed. Okay, that's the snake in the room though, because that anger is, you're in this room and you're in your chair, and that anger is the snake. And it's getting stronger and stronger the angrier you get because of the way people are being treated and the way politicians are making decisions and pulling funding. And that snake is going to bite you because you're going to become part of the problem if you let the anger rule you. You always have to rule from love, from help, and do not become that part of the problem. Do not let that snake bite you. You got to check yourself. That's the defense. Check the organization to stay in the heart of hope, the mission. The day zero, the day one mentality that made this so special has to be the same mentality and heart and emotion and mission that you have on day whatever, 10,000, when you're helping more people throughout the world get back to a sustainable lifestyle of self-respect and dignity. That's what you do. But to do that, you gotta stay in day one mindset and heart set. And that's what I pray for you. And I don't mean to be all preachery, but that's what you gotta do. Fight for that. And see it amongst yourselves. There will be times you're going to be in rooms, you're going to be so pissed. You're going to have an intervention. You're going to be trying to get some people. Somebody's going to deny you, or somebody's going to get hurt, or something's going to go wrong. And why? You're not going to blame. You're not going to be a victim. You're going to be a hero that still shows up and that still maintains that the group goes, I'm okay, we're okay, that was a setback, we're going to keep going with this. Hope the mission. Never anger the mission. Never sadness the mission. Belief and hope.